NerdandSon.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NerdandSon podcast. I'm Son, I'm Connor, and that's Nerd.
Hi. There we go.
Get ready for a nice, fun time as we talk about RPGs and general nerd shit.
See, that works.
General nerd shit?
Sergeant. Nah, real cool. See, we don't have to have the same kind of intro.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very cool. Got to change it up just a little bit. But today we are talking about we're continuing the series in our environmental series. That sounds like we're being like really green tree huggers, but no, we're just talking about different environments that you can be role playing in a RPG. And this week we are talking about mountains. Mountains. Not just one mount, but 10 of them. Mountains. Yes. See, the dad jokes do not get any better. They just get worse and worse. So
you just throw out more of them, and some of them are going to stick eventually.
Yeah, that's because they need to be washed. That's the only reason they stick. So, okay. So, when you're adventuring, and depending on how you're running your campaign, your encounter, anything like that, you might want to actually take your game crew to just mountains. And I would suggest trying to make the mountains and everything more lively, more as a living entity when you're actually describing it. You're using your theater of the mind and everything else. The same thing we did with Above the Sea, Under the Sea. Basically, we're just going to talk about different mountains, different environments, and what you can actually be doing. So, and I kind of did something a little bit different that we'll get to. I had a whole bunch of ideas just throwing around in my head, and I just started listing them out, and we can go through and talk about them and see what you kind of think. So,
all right. But
mountains. Let's figure out what kind of mountains they are. And I just listed a few of them, which we would probably maybe use in a game. Like, for example, and these are real life mountains here. You have a type of mountain called a shield mountain. And basically, it's just a lower mountain that when the volcanic eruption that happened that created the mountain, the lava was a lot thinner, so it spread out more. So that made the mountain actually smaller. Okay, so that's what they call a shield mountain. Just kind of a little bit different top, so you can actually have like a smoother lava bed, lava field, and everything like that too. So the other one that you can actually use in a game is called a dome mountain. So basically, it almost looks like a big bubble that has actually risen up out of the ground. So that could be a different type of mountain that you can use too.
Ooh.
Yeah, what are you doing? Looking up the pictures that we're doing here?
Yep.
Hey, you know what? I could probably add some pictures of these things as we're talking. That actually might work. So now
use that visual medium.
Now, the fun type of mountain you think of, it'd be like a fiery volcano. Okay, so you can.
I don't need to look that up.
No, everybody knows what that kind of looks like. So, and your volcano can actually be either active or inactive. So. Now, besides just a mountain, you could have a mountaintop plateau. So you kind of think of that too. So you have all your mountains and everything rising, and then all of a sudden you have this flat plain on top. So that could be a whole other environment in and of itself on top of a mountain. So, and then you're going to have your normal ones too that you see in some of the movies and everything. You got your ice covered, you got your windswept mountains too. So. Kind of think about what kind of mountains that you want to use in your game and how you want to set up your environment and using different things too. But yeah, these are all just natural stuff you see in the world around you. And if you need ideas, I mean, honestly, watch a documentary about mountains and they just talk about different things and you can picture some of the landscapes that they show you. And I can picture that landscape in my head and then design my game around the way I want to use that. So
if I can't like divorce two images from my mind. It's always, when I think of mountains, I always think of the scene in Lord of the Rings when they're like walking over the mountains, and you have that like bomb, 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 bomb. You know, like it's so good, so good.
Yeah, it's just very nice. I mean, and use that, especially Lord of the Rings, when they're traversing the mountains and everything like that. Use that in your games as ideas. So that plays a huge part. Other things that you can do is mountains, and I've kind of changed this up. I was like, why don't you, instead of just a straight mountain, have like a fantasy wall? Okay, like for example, you got your regular landmass like right here on this level, and then all of a sudden you have another landmass like 200 feet higher, and you just have a sheer cliff in front of you. I mean, that's more of a fantasy idea in a fantasy game, but yeah, you have like a big giant cliff wall, and you can kind of use that. Or talking about like Lord of the Rings, but if you want to go back to The Hobbit, you got your Lonely Mountain. You have your single peak in the middle of the forest.
Those exist. Hold up, where is it?
There's a couple different mountains like that too. Some of them are from erosion, which are just in the center, and then other ones where you just have some kind of lava plume come up and it makes a mountain in the middle of a flat plain. So yeah, you have a bunch of different ideas, but especially like the Lonely Mountain one. That's actually a real nice one too, because then you can evoke your just your Hobbit and the stories and everything. Well, I read the books, and I think a lot of people seen the movies and everything too. So, but yeah, those would be kind of the mountains that you'd kind of think of. Or at least I thought of mostly when I'm designing a game or thinking of fantasy mountains. And kind of what I did when I was looking and just doing the research is because I can see what I have in my head, but just scanning, say, mountain scenes or fantasy mountain scenes, it give you a real good idea of way to actually look at too. And especially when you're trying to describe the mountain to your players, take one of those fantasy mountain scenes and then describe the picture to them. Give them the fantasy of the mind. Or if you wanted to, print it out and show them.
Absolutely. Showing them, or at least like posting a picture in a Discord or something, can be a really useful like tool to set the scene.
It does, because you got your picture equals 1,000 words, and it does make it a little bit easier when you're trying to describe it, because I can describe something, and honestly, I think I describe something really well, but not everybody looks at something in my mind the way I do when I describe it. So a picture would help greatly.
Yeah, and like, because that's the thing, right? You've got to remember is that everybody has a different perspective when they're imagining something. So it doesn't matter how well you describe what you are seeing. They're all going to see something different. Everybody has a different image of what's going on in your mind. And all you can do is make sure that you are conveying your image so that it matches up at least enough so that you can communicate.
That is true. So, okay, but overall, those are just the basic type of mountains you have. And like I said, you can have your lonely single mountain, or you can have your long mountain range. Okay, and we're back.
Hello.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes work takes priority when you got to get things done, too. So, welcome to management, son.
It's okay.
It's all good.
One of the things I wanted to say is one of my favorite like features of fantasy landscapes is when it's kind of like, you know, you have these mountains that are like sideways and they're like giant rocks jutting out.
You talking about like Red Rocks by Boulder? Like the big Red Rocks amphitheater where everything is kind of sideways and you can see the all the layers and everything like that. Beautiful looking place. So I'll throw a picture of that up too, but yeah, while you're looking it up. But
I'm not talking about anything like natural.
Oh, okay. Just sideways mountains?
Yeah, like
So what do you mean? Like they're on a hill and then they stick out, or
like they're like mountain-sized like rocks that are just like jutting out like of the landscape.
Okay. So that's a fantasy sci-fi landscape, like where you go into a different world. Okay, okay.
That does not exist. And I know that there's an example in Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah, I know what I know what you're talking about. And actually, I can show some natural pictures. They're not going to be as big, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. We can throw some of those pictures up too. But yeah, you can do stuff like that. I didn't even think about that as adding that to the type of mountain. So very cool.
There we go. I think that's some that's some examples.
Okay, cool.
I just sent it to you.
That's fine. We'll get that added in here. Okay, so besides those types of mountains and everything, some of the features that you can kind of think of, I just put a couple on here because I don't know. I kind of design things as I go depending on the need. But besides the mountains, you can have giant glaciers actually kind of running in between the mountains, which are moving. And then that can actually feed back to our winter frost episode that we had a few episodes back too. So the other thing is you got mountains. In between the mountains, you're going to have some valleys.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. And there's going to in valleys are great protected places where you can have different cultures and civilizations that have not been touched or anything, and you can play around with that. Or you can have these idyllic places that don't like outsiders or something like that.
Exactly. You could do the same thing. Same thing on like the top of a plateau that we were talking about. The flat top, it can be a completely different environment. Since nothing can get off it or other people can't get up, it's its own ecosystem. So the other thing in here, I put in here, I named it earthquake remnants. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let me explain that. Okay. If you see like the movie San Andreas, okay, and you see the big split in the earth, okay, that's kind of what I'm just talking about. You got your earthquake and everything like that. I mean, technically, it's not a big skyscraping mountain, but you're going to have the same characteristics as you got that jagged earthquake zone.
Well, another thing, when I had seen this in the notes, my immediate thought was, the people take for granted. People take for granted the fact that mountains and rock formations, they move on such a grand timeline that we don't think of them as living, moving things like everything else in the world, but they are. They change, they move, right? And earthquake remnants, you're going to have rocks fall, and you could have an established path through the mountains that an earthquake happened, or some geomancer decided to make a landslide, and then all of a sudden that safe path is no longer passable, and now you are lost. You have to find a different way through. This could be a survival issue that happens on your journey, where you have rocks, where you have these things. You're gonna have play up the fact that you have wizards who can change reality around you. That's gonna have effects on I want to just move some rocks, or I want to I want to make, hey, look, there's a tree in the way now, stuff like that. You're gonna change the landscape around you.
Yeah. So, and I know I didn't put it in the notes or anything, but it was one of the thoughts that I had was exactly what you're talking about, having more of a living mountain system that constantly changes, and have it a lot more, not over a grand time scale, but more liquid. So you can see like the mountains kind of moving and swaying.
Liquid mountain. Oh, that's really fucking cool.
And then they can actually move and twist around and everything in some kind of area. But yeah, at a distance, you can actually see when you're up close, you can't really see as much. But when you're at a distance, you can actually see the height changes and everything like that too.
That's so cool. Because one of the things that, the first time I rode a plane, one of the first times I rode a plane was over the U.S. to the West Coast, and I remember looking down at the Rockies and being like, those look like waves, those look like waves moving through, and like what if those waves it was actual waves moving? That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's nice. And the other thing too is if you're traveling, and this is something.
Can I change my L? Can I change my L creature corner to the liquid mountain now?
You can do whatever. But also, too, with the mountains and something that you change as a feature, and I experienced this, honestly, really for the first time when we traveled through the Rockies when we drove from San Diego to Cincinnati, is we started 1 hour, we were in the desert, dry 90
when we were in Arizona,
and then we started climbing up the mountains. I mean, we got to 7,500 feet elevation. I think it was right around there, and just within a couple hours, and it's 40 degrees. There's snow.
It's
pine
40
trees.
degrees. We see snow, we see pine trees, and just literally
it's a nice little restaurant that we ate at with the pizza and stuff like that. But then we travel that, we get through that thing, and we start going back down. And at the end of the day, we're in the desert again. And it's 90 plus degrees again. I'm like, wow.
We did a real life Minecraft biome movement.
So, and honestly, that was, I've drove through the Appalachian Mountains, stuff like that. You don't get that big of a change. But when we drove through the Rockies, that was actually very cool to me. So, actually, I got that on video. I might actually add some of those shots too that we took 1 hour and then the next hour. So that would be very cool. But yeah, that's something to think of. The other kind of feature that I added on here that you can try to introduce to the landscape and stuff like that is giant waterfalls. Make them magnificent and everything else too.
Like
coming off the top of the
Angel
mountains.
Falls?
Yeah.
But it's fantasy. So, or is it Angel? Yeah, Angel Falls.
Where angels decide to fall.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not singing the song to you. I'm sorry.
But you could make something like that, just commonplace. Like this natural, free flowing, huge waterfall.
Yeah,
and that could just be normal.
Yeah, here, picture a mountain, okay, and we'll play this out here. So picture a mountain. It got the flat plateau and everything on the top. Okay, you have your separate biome and environment up at the top there, and it's actually fed by the center of the mountain, a huge pool of water which keeps bubbling up from the earth, okay, which feeds the water, and the water goes out to these rivers, and they all flow over the plateau on a constant basis.
It's like a natural forming cat water bowl.
Yes, that is absolutely true. And actually, I don't know. I was going to say you can actually look at all the movies that you have, like the fantasy movies and stuff like that on that too, but it's not water. You know what they use in those movies, don't you?
No.
Salt. When they do those practical effects for this water, they did that with when you're looking at Rivendell. They also did that in the Force Awakens? One of the cities.
Salt?
Yeah, it's basically salt pouring that actually acts as a waterfall that they dress up. So very, very cool as a practical effect. So yeah, that's something I learned watching in documentaries and the big DVD cases I got with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So where you got 4 hours worth of movie and 20 hours worth of documentaries on each one. So very, very cool. So, but yeah, you can kind of dress things up there too. Yeah, and if you want like a fantasy city in the mountains and stuff like that, perfect example, which we just talked about, Riverdale. Or Rivendell, sorry. Is it Riverdale? Riverdale works with Archie.
Riverdale is a bunch of children, and
I'm
it's
talking about
Rivendell,
so with the elves.
Rivendell.
Yeah, so okay, we're not talking about Archie and his game. Chippendale, okay, the dancers. So okay, and as a side note, I'm not getting sidetracked. You know how you saw Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and you had Chip in his flight jacket and everything like that, and then you had Dale in his Hawaiian shirt. Okay. Yeah. I saw a picture which was identical, which actually had Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, sitting next to Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
In his by his little Ferrari and everything like that, and there's the exact same clothes. I'm like, that's just cool. So, okay, little side note there, but okay, but that kind of just the features that you can kind of have in your campaign when you shape it and everything like that too. So, do you have any others that you can think of or ideas or?
No.
Okay. We can always add or anything like that. This was just kind of stuff I was coming up with too.
We can have an addendum episode at the end of this.
So, but let's go to the next section, which I think would be really easy on how we can come up with. And this is just to be hazards. Okay. So as you're traversing the mountains, okay. Landslides. That was the first thing that popped in my head. You got boulders coming down either from natural landslides, earth shifting, or from, let's say, stone giants.
It can be as small as just a shifting hillside to large boulders that are getting in the way of your Mario Kart race.
Exactly. You need that blue shell. Trust me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, you have your landslides, and then that could do a couple of things. That could be a hazard to try to swipe the players away. They can have a landslide come down, block the path where they have to actually traverse around the mountain some other way. Landslides can be used as a hindrance, as a deterrent, a couple different things too. So also too, if you want to say a landslide is starting to happen and say the party hears some rumor and you kind of made a mistake as a DM and the players actually want to go down this path to find this place, which is what you want to do in the future, not right now. You can have saying going through the thing and all of a sudden a landslide comes down, blocks a path, or a landslide comes down and blocks the entrance to this tomb, which is the final place, that they'll have to do something else to come back to get excavated or hire people to excavate. And then that way they can continue the adventure in different ways too. So you can kind of use some of those hazards to your advantage when you do make the mistake when you're setting out different clues and the players went up. Oh yeah, because it happens. You try to just throw something out there thinking it'll just stay in the back of their head, but then they just take it and just latch right onto it. Then that becomes a priority, and you're like, shit. So, but the biggest thing is in mountains, climbing.
Yep.
Okay.
You ever seen those videos of crazy people that like do free climbing?
Yeah.
It's never.
No. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm scared of heights as it is, and I can't actually do it too. So
it's not the heights that scare you; it's the falling.
No, the heights scare me because I know I will fall. The falling's the guaranteed. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can use, and you can actually set up. As an example, if you want to do that, we've got free climbers and everything like that, and you got your party coming after or following or something like that as part of the game. Just tell them exactly how dangerous it is. They could have a guide that is up in front of them doing the free climbing, slip and fall. Oh. I mean, I will change the mood of your climbing party really fast.
Real quick.
So that way, that gives you something you can actually kind of set the mood with if you wanted to, because then that gets things really serious. It kind of makes it interesting and changes the tone. So the other thing to do, especially when you're climbing mountains, and what we kind of alluded to when we went from 90 degrees to 40 degrees back down to 90 degrees, is your temperature change.
Yep.
Okay.
You're hot and you're cold. You're yes and you're no. You're in and you're out. You're up and you're down. You're wrong when it's right. You're black when it's white.
Oh, I wish I could actually put some of these songs references that we make in the video because we're on YouTube, but we would get, we would get clicked on, not clicked on, but yeah, so many issues with that. Awesome. Okay. but especially if you got your frozen temperatures, okay, you're gonna have like your bodies that you might actually walk by.
Oh, actually, so for frozen, for like the hot and cold, that immediately makes me think of like the absolute extremes in like the Riddick movie.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've seen Riddick, so I had to think about it.
Go out into the sun.
Yeah. So that'd be a cool thing.
Well, that makes me think of.
Yeah. That
makes but for cold, like the frozen bodies, and your guide, the person guiding you, sees these things all the time. So like it's like in Mount Everest, where like you have certain bodies that aren't used as landmarks. Oh, we're getting close because we're at Rainbow Boots or something.
I think that is like the name of one of them. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Give me 1 second.
Not a problem. Okay.
Hello. Welcome back.
Hey, see, work calls. That's what you have to do sometimes.
Woo-hoo.
So, okay, so we were talking about making a stop by the Rainbow Boots. And I think I made the comment because I think there was something.
Boots, yeah.
There was something like that.
Have you ever seen the bodies?
Not recently. I have watched a couple of
I was like, because I was looking at documentaries and stuff. I was like hearing about them, and I was like, well, I gotta see what it looks like.
Yeah, there's nothing morbid about that at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so, but yeah, you're gonna have those and landmarks.
It's green boots.
It's green boots. It was something.
That's what it is. I'm looking at the picture right now. That's.
And speaking of just the frozen bodies, they could be at the bottom of like a huge crevasse. Could be a frozen crevasse. It's a crevasse. Or just regular. It don't have to be ice or snow. It can just be regular rock crevasses. So that you have to traverse around. And we did already talk about heights. I don't like heights. So.
Oh, that's what this is. I was so confused why you put cervezas in here.
It's spell check. That's all it is. And I just went through.
Cerveza Cristal.
I was not paying attention to what was written there. Okay, never mind. There we go.
What is a cerveza? Hold up.
Nothing. What's
a cerveza Cristal?
Oh, lovely. See, you spell a word so bad when you're trying to type.
Beer. It just means beer.
Oh, it's a type of beer. Okay.
No, it just means beer. It is Spanish for beer.
Maybe I'm just needing a beer. I haven't had one in a while. I need a beer. That's what I was subconsciously saying. I needed a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but yeah.
I was waiting for you to say, because I was like, I don't know what a cerveza is, so like I was waiting for you to say cerveza, and then I was gonna go cerveza Cristal. Oh. But like you didn't say you didn't say cerveza, so I like missed it.
Oh well. Yeah,
I had the joke ready.
I've ruined your joke for my bad spelling. That's awesome. Okay. Oh, but heights. Heights are a terrible thing. I do not like heights. So I have been invited on a hot air balloon. That's not going to happen. Sorry. It can't happen. Which is weird,
do you do
though.
On planes? Do you just get like the aisle seat?
Oh, no, I'm fine on a plane. Okay? It's weird. The first 15 seconds of the plane speeding up and taking off is fine. But as soon as it gets air, I'm fine. I have no problem. Okay? And the same thing with the landing. I have no problem landing. But when it touches the ground and I feel that right there, that kind of throws me just for a second. So
one of the craziest things, and you would hate this, is I was in a helicopter and we were going to the ship, and we were like, and the thing about landing in the middle of the ocean on a boat is when you're on the helicopter, you are going down, and you can't see anything. You just see ocean, and you see ocean, and you keep going down, and you keep going down, and you see the like rotor splash from like the water, and you keep going down and you keep going down, and you don't see the boat, and you keep going down and you don't see the boat, and then the helicopter does not land. The helicopter falls several feet. Because it gets to the point, and then it goes ka-chunk. And so
lovely.
it just like, and you don't see the boat until after you fall.
Oh, yes, I would love that so much. No. That's the same thing with like a roller coaster. That going up the first hill because it's so slow drives me batshit crazy. But as soon as we're over the first hill, I'm like, woo, I have no problem. Going upside down, around, everything like that. It's just that initial chunk, 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 chunk.
Oh my god, could you imagine if it fell? Or not fell, but like if it like stopped? You had to get off and walk down?
I've had it stop and I was about ready to shit myself. Okay, but they had it going again within a minute, so I was fine. And that was on a Bees to Kings Island, so.
Okay.
So,
what about the one at Cedar Point? Could you imagine the one at Cedar Point, just like where it stops, like at the top?
No. Because I've had somebody tell me that they were stopped on that, and that was the fast car racer that goes up.
Yeah, the fast car racer, and then like you get up to the top, and apparently they do this thing where like because like it'll sometimes get stuck on the top because of weight, and like you're just hanging there. You're sitting there hanging for several minutes as a guy walks up the stairs to get to like the tallest point on any roller coaster. Yeah. To just, instead of like fixing it or something, or what he'll do is just the pin in the middle, pull it up, and you'll either go forward because you're leaning forward already, or you'll just go backwards.
Exactly. I would be dying. I'm sorry. I'm a grown-ass man, but I'd be crying like a freaking little girl. I would be. I won't lie. I can't do it. So, but yeah, the Top Speed Dragster, did you see? Now we're getting off side topic again. Did you see they shut it down for a while? They've redid it, and they're reopening it this year. So what it does is it launches you, okay, to go mostly up that first hill. Then it goes all the way back. You go through the starting area, freaking like 80 miles an hour. You go up this launch hill, okay? And then it shoots you back down, and you actually go, I think, 30 or 40 miles faster than what you did before. And the Top Speed Dragster is actually taller than what it was.
Fuck that!
To go up and down and around, yeah.
Fuck that! We gotta do that!
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so
we gotta go the next time I'm in Ohio.
We were there once and we didn't do it.
Yeah, I know.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, let's talk here. How many people go to Kings Island and get to ride the Beast by themselves?
Oh, it was great. That was great.
Several
times in a row.
Yeah.
It was great.
There was nobody there because you had the day off or something like that. Where other people had to go to school because of some weather day that you didn't have to make up for. So you had the day off. Kings Island was open, all the other schools there, and I had your brother, which was still in a stroller. And you were, what, 8? Yeah. And you got to 8, 9, and you got to ride that thing a couple times by yourself.
It was great.
Oh, very, very fun. So, okay. Falling. I know you said heights.
Ah!
Oh, it's apparently not the falling that gets you, but the sudden stop.
Yeah, sudden stop at the end.
I don't know. I would probably have my heart attack before I actually got to the sudden stop, to be honest with you. But yeah, you're going to have falling. And then if you're playing an RPG, you're going to have falling damage depending on every 10 feet. Like 1 dice 6, 1 dice 4, depending on what you do.
I cast Featherfall.
Yes. So spells can actually save you. So that kind of offsets some of the things, but you have to remember they only last so long, and you only have so many different spell slots. So
yeah,
you have to figure out how you're going to do stuff. And typically, like for example, when we talked about Under the Sea, and you would stock up for specific stuff that you need for underwater travel, but typically nobody really stocks up for traversing the mountains. So,
yeah,
that could be a little bit interesting on what you do. Well,
you gotta be ready for anything.
It is too. But yeah, other thing, hazards is lava. You got your volcanoes. Sorry. As you're in a fantasy setting, volcanoes are one of the coolest things that you can have. Going through a lava field. You got what I have underneath, steam and gas vents. Just going off around you and everything that's with those two. It just sets another nice different visual landscape up for you that you take place in the mountains.
Absolutely.
Also too, you can actually be in an area where all of a sudden the volcano is swelling and it's about ready to explode, and you're on the side that's swelling. What are you doing?
Of course.
Because you're going to have to get off the side of Mount St. Helens really fast.
And the eagle is not coming.
No, the eagles are not coming.
The eagles are not coming.
No. But it's a fantasy game.
Eagle 1 is returning to load up. And you've got 3 minutes before Eagle 1 reloads and is back in the fight.
But yeah, it's talk about two different things here, but okay. But yeah, you can use your giant eagles like you do in your Lord of the Rings or whatever you want to do. But yeah, you got your steam vents, you got your gas vents, and your gas and steam vents can create a whole nother hazard. So you can actually have one blow and all of a sudden you're burned, where you got your gas vent that's leaking out poison gases. So you don't have breathing issues. So a lot of different things that you can kind of set up with too. And the other thing I have is a hazard, and every time I think of this single rope bridge, I think of Indiana Jones.
Shrek.
No, I think of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Well, I'm thinking of Shrek.
Okay. Explain your Shrek.
Do you not remember the single rope bridge over the lava to get to the castle?
Right offhand, no. I don't know. I'm terrible. I can't tell you how long ago it has been since I've seen Shrek, and I've seen Temple of Doom. I don't know how many times we've been there. So, but yeah, you got people chase you. You gotta go across this rope bridge. You got wooden planks. Some of the planks might break. Oh, but yeah, it's very interesting, very shaky. And how this goes through, because then you don't have to figure out, do you want to play weight capacity? Do you want it unraveling? There's a whole bunch of different things you can do with that too,
if you have a single rope bridge across a chasm and you don't have at least one of the planks break, well, that's just that you gotta have it. If you have a rickety bridge, it's gotta rick it. That's just it's gotta happen. Yeah. I'm gonna rick it.
Yeah. If you don't have a rickety bridge, you have no rickets.
Exactly.
Oh, but yeah, it's just one of those tropes that you have to have. You have to have. So, okay. But yeah,
exactly.
Those are just
Chekhov's gun.
Exactly. But those are just kind of overall some of the hazards you can just kind of tie into the world you're designing, how you're actually playing your adventure, your encounter, or whatnot, just to kind of liven it up just a little bit too. So, do you got any other ones you can think of right offhand?
No.
Okay.
No. You know what I do have right offhand?
What do you have?
To pee.
Okay. I guess we are taking another break.
Hi guys. If you want to take a break from role-playing and watch someone burn their face off while eating hot peppers, head on over to YouTube at 13 Peppers and like and subscribe. And if you want to grow these peppers yourself, you can actually purchase these seeds at 13peppersbyralph.com. With that, have a good day.
Okay, and we are back. So,
Woo!
woohoo! Yay!
Oh, sorry. Hold up. We're not back yet.
Okay.
I was like,
And that means we're back. So cool.
and that means we're back. Back and live.
Yes.
And I know that we are moving into another little section here.
Yes, this is kind of a little different. I was just, my mind was
teased at the beginning.
Yeah, my mind was just kind of going off for different ideas and scenarios because I mean that's just how my mind works. So, but let's take a look. And
It's called ADHD, but he didn't have that in his day.
it didn't exist.
Shut up, sit down, and listen. That's what I was always told.
That's what it was called in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
That's how it
well,
was.
the doctor said that I don't know what an HD is, but the doctor said I had 80 of them.
Oh, your AD was just in high def. That's all. You add very clearly. Yes, you add very clearly.
Why do I wear glasses then?
No. It's okay. So I just had a bunch of ideas. Okay, my first, when you talk about mountains, is just idyllic. You have your city at the top of a peak, and it's above the clouds. So you have your clouds as kind of a ground around the peak.
Denver.
It can be like Denver, yes. Okay, but you have your city above the clouds and everything, which I thought was kind of really cool. So you can kind of do that. You can do a village. You can do anything like that too. And that's something you do, especially if you're an adventuring party and you're traversing and you're going through the clouds and all of a sudden you break the clouds and you start up and you can actually just have this vast landscape of just white puffy clouds that all you can see and a few mountain peaks here and there too. So to kind of add to the visual picture of what you're describing. So the other thing I was kind of thinking of is a super large, extraordinary giant stone chair carved out of the very peak of a mountain. So some kind of giant just sits upon the throne and stares out over the world.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a kind of a different idea to kind of bring about too. I mean, if you want to do more video games, if you want to see that, you can have like altars. Like for example, where you're getting your in your Skyrim and you're getting your dragon speech for your shouts. You can come across those things in the mountains. So another one is, okay, say you're actually in a forest, you see the mountains, and on the peak of one of the mountains, you see this giant castle that you have to go up to. You either have to traverse, or you walk around, or you're looking at it, you're going, how does anybody even get up there? Because it doesn't look like there's any way to get up there. And a good thing is, too, is have you seen the documentaries of what Dracula's castle actually, or the Dracul, what is it called?
I have not.
Castle Dracul actually looks like? Because it's like the very peak and there's like a single path to get down around that too. So, and it's a lot smaller than what I thought it would be, but very, very cool looking.
Oh, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah, isn't it? You can have things like that. I'm going to be adding a ton of pictures on this podcast too. I already know it.
That's good.
So, but yeah. Nice, beautiful things like that too. Another thing that we actually talk about, and you even mentioned it, you can find lost tribes in the mountain valley. You actually mentioned that earlier. So this tribe that has had no contact with anybody or decided they didn't want to be around other people, you can do different things like that too.
Absolutely. Shangri-La.
Yes, you can find the Shangri-La of halflings.
Yes.
You can actually describe dwarven ruins etched in the side of a cliff. Maybe it could tell some kind of ancient story in a language you don't know, or you might be able to, some of it might actually be kind of wore off, and other ones can actually tell kind of a story that you have to piece together. And
or it could be a riddle that you have to say the word for friend in Elvish in order for the door to open.
Exactly. But while you're thinking of that, I'm going to throw some rocks into the lake.
Yeah, exactly.
because that's what I do when I'm bored.
That's what you do.
Yes. Oh.
Because you have ADHD and you need your stimulation.
I do. I really do.
You gotta throw the rocks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so... And also, too, here's kind of an adventure. So you have like a ogre stronghold. A clan of ogres in the mountains. And it's your job to sneak in. Be stealthy. To try to rescue somebody. As like a campaign idea. I'm like, ooh. Exactly. You can set it up exactly like that. And yeah, because you can make your game out of that specifically. So,
and when you're doing stealth missions, your players are really the deciding factor on if the background music is doom 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 doom
Mission Impossible,
or it's doobie doobie dooba doobie doobie dooba doobie. The players decide the tone.
The players decide the tone. That is awesome. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. I love it. Oh gosh. Okay. Now I thought this was actually interesting. Okay. Let's say you have a clan of mountain elves. That's not a normal elf society that you think of.
You are correct.
But a mountain elves, and they have a whole village that's strung between two cliff walls.
Now that's cool.
Yeah. So you'll have like your rope bridges and mountain things, and they have their whole village, city, stuff like that, that's actually just strung between these cliff walls that you can walk under and everything like that. And that's their society. So you can kind of change things up that way. So, and then this one. And this is kind of because, yeah, I went to see the Godzilla movie. You got your Lost World.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you can be on top of a plateau or down in a valley.
Yeah, down in a valley, and you could call it a land before time.
Really?
Yeah. And like the dinosaurs are singing for some reason.
Why do they not?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was proven that dinosaurs sing.
And they're singing like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. They do.
All right.
What? What's wrong with that? I mean, you got the little baby dinosaur that will hit you with the pan and go, "Not to mama."
Yeah, exactly. Not to mama. Not to mama.
But yes, you got to have your dinosaurs. You got to find a way to have dinosaurs in your game. Okay, now this can also be part of a campaign idea where you're actually going to, but basically having a place where the rarest of minerals can be found for spells and crafting.
Okay.
Okay, like you got the rarest veins of ore for whatever it you need for your armor being built or anything like that too, and you have to go and find it.
Because that's a powerful like resource, and that's gonna be, a lot of people are gonna want access to that, and that is where your political intrigue can happen. You can have your political intrigue, you can have your rival parties that you're going against or anything like that too. So these are just things I just was thinking about when we're doing this here. So, but now let's go weird, and I kind of like this. Okay, and you got to kind of picture this. Okay, you have stone giants. Okay. But these stone giants are only like 3.5 feet tall. Are they stone giants then? They still consider themselves stone giants. They've just basically they just shrunk, okay? And what they do is they ride them on the top of the mountain goats, because your mountain goats can almost climb sheer cliff walls. Yep. And then that's how they get around with their spears. It makes me think of a specific... Give me a second. When I think of a goat, I think of this. You're not trying to play a Taylor Swift song, are you? No. I think of because I see this every couple weeks come up on my feed. Okay. I'm gonna send this to you. Okay. Well, describe it, and then I can add it onto. It's not describable. Okay. I will just add it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it right now. I'm not stopping the cast to look at it, so that'll work. Okay. I'll just add it.
I'm probably missing something, but yeah.
You are.
Oh,
you absolutely are.
Well, everybody else will enjoy it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to see your reaction.
All right. So, but yeah, you got your miniature stone giants riding these goats. And I think it just was like a cool, weird, different thing.
Mm-hmm.
They would still all act the same, but yeah, that would just be a cool idea. So now
it could be very interesting when they like miniature stone giants who still think they're giants come across regular people.
They'll bite your kneecaps off. Nom, 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 nom. So, now, here's another thing too, and this is kind of set upon fantasy, like romance that I've heard of in the past and read about. You have a village that, due to a curse, moves from peak to peak every fortnight.
Fortnite battle pass.
Yes, with the battle pass.
I got shit out my ass.
So, but you have your fantasy tropes where you're going, you have to be at this place at this particular time for this town to appear, and it only appears once every 50 years.
Interesting.
But yeah, but you can have a village and everything,
every
and
2
something.
weeks.
Yeah, it moves to a different peak somewhere along the range, or multiple different ranges. Yeah, that could be stuff like that. So, I mean, your players can also use that to traverse to different places and have your whole campaign kind of based out of that as a hub.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are
could
just
you
some.
imagine if they left the village and didn't return in 2 weeks? That would suck.
Yeah, and that could happen. That maybe you can find remnants and stories and rumors of people that used to be from that village. But yeah. Yeah, so those are kind of the things that I'm kind of thinking about. Just like different ideas. So now I did have a list here of just main creatures that you would actually find in the mountains. And honestly, you got your giants, you got your non-existent dragons, your dwarves, your rocks, meaning your ROC, like your giant birds, your wyverns. But honestly, here's how I actually look at creatures. You can have your typical ones.
Wyverns or dragons. Wyverns or dragons.
But they're named differently.
They're too close to not. They're too close.
But here's how I actually look at things. You can have any creature really in the mountains. Okay? I mean, it might be a little bit difficult to have aquatic creatures there, but they can actually be in like the mountain lakes.
Like a lake, yeah.
Exactly. Lakes. So, and speaking of creatures in lakes, and in the mountains, you can have like your Nessies.
Yep.
Your Ogopogos.
Your Lons. Yep.
So, yeah. You can have creatures like that. But honestly, I am not a big fan of standard creatures in standard areas. I like changing things up. I like using different creatures in different ways, adding templates to them, so you're actually encountering something which is similar, but not similar, but different enough to actually make it interesting of what's actually going on with the environment around you. So honestly, really any creature you can use.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can use your fantasy ones like your ogres, your orcs, any kind of dwarves basically in your mountains. You can use like your giant eagles to come save you, like in The Hobbit.
Yep, absolutely.
Anything like that too. So, but yeah.
Yep.
Those are kind of that, and that's kind of how I see creatures. Yeah. I don't know what your kind of thought is on that, but
well, the thing is that like, when we think of like a fantasy setting, it's really forests and mountains, and those are the go-to. That is what the expectation is, right? And so that's really why any creature from your monster manual can work there, is because it's the established fantasy setting,
Yeah.
And so it's anything can fit there because that's what the setting is fit to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and also too, I mean, you can actually make it weird because you can have your mountain plateau, and the huge lake has a village in the middle of the lake of mermen that survive in the huge blue hole that they go through with their caverns and stuff.
Yep, absolutely.
That doesn't sound standard or typical, but yeah, you can use it and do those kind of things. It's a fantasy. Absolutely. Do what you want, use what you want. Plus, besides
You
just
can
your
use that as, your long traversal through the mountains, and that could be just to stop for like an episode,
yeah,
and
yeah, that's really the biggest thing is just use it. Use these different ideas, things you've seen before, especially if you've seen any kind of nature documentaries that take place in mountains or anything like that. Use it too. Or you can have your mysterious Bigfoot that can never be found, but you have your emergency 411s out there in the wilderness.
what is that? Please explain.
Basically, that's the code that they use for when you have the disappearance of like hikers and hunters that are never seen or never found or anything like that. Then you have your rumors and everything like that they were hunted and killed by like Bigfoot and stuff like that too. So that's basically your paranormal 411.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, you can do any kind of encounters like that too. So. And yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, anything fits, and you can have fun with it.
Mhm.
Have fun with it.
Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for like mountains. Is very kind of simple. But when you just take a small idea, switch it up, change it with something like that, and just make something the same but different. Like all those ideas I had, I was just sitting down going boom, 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 boom. There's just things just pop into my head. You can take any one of these things and go with it and actually have a fun evening out of what those are. And sometimes even more. So yeah, I just like creating with ideas. So, but I don't know. Other than that, that is about it. Unless you have anything else on the mountains.
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
I think we've reached our peak when talking about mountains.
See, this is great. And I just like talking about ideas and campaign design and adventure design and how to use your environment around you too. So this is just great because I got books here that talk about wilderness adventures. They talk about mountains, and what they do is they talk about specific items in a mountain, not anything that is going to be like general on campaign growing, but you got your mysterious bones that you find in a mountain and they're magical, or you have your magical cave, and it's just like encounters, but not anything that's trying to elaborate to grow
not
your
guidelines and things to help with.
Yeah, it's just more ideas of like creatures and encounters than it is growing your theater of the mind and describing it to the players and helping flesh out your adventures. So, okay. With that, I guess we are at our point of our encounter corner. What do you say?
Woohoo!
Okay. So I guess this week we have you are up to the letter L, I do believe.
Yeah, letter L, yes I am.
And I had a line here in the notes saying, ask about Ligma. Yep.
Ligma balls. I got him.
You are an ass. Okay. That's good. I like that.
Did you not see that coming? See that coming?
I did not.
All right. Would you like the explanation of how I got to this, or would you like the actual thing first?
This is your encounter, so you do it the way you want.
All right. So, as we've discussed, dragons don't exist, and I was running with that, and I've used certain things in the past, in order, and I like, even though dragons don't exist in the world, I still like using dragons as inspiration. So I was looking for dragons throughout throughout history and mythology, that start with L's, and so that I can use that as inspiration, right?
Okay.
And I ran into the Long-Witten dragon. Okay.
Okay.
The Long-Witten dragon is an Old English myth. Okay.
Okay.
And
I'm not familiar with this, so I'm interested.
I had never heard of it before, but basically, the It's literally like 4 paragraphs long. I'm not gonna read it right here because it's like it's kind of it's. But basically, you have the village of Longwitten, and there are these healing pools outside, these healing wells or pools outside of the village that have water with healing properties
Okay.
inside of it. And one day, you have somebody goes out to collect the water, and there's a creature, and in the myth it's a dragon. There's a dragon there, and you have a knight that rides into town hearing about this beast that has shown up at the wells, and he goes to try to fight it one day. He goes out and he keeps fighting it, but all of the wounds heal.
Okay.
So the first day he fights it, and he has to retreat because nothing's working. The second day he goes out to fight it, and nothing's working. And the third day he changes up his tactic. He goes in and he's really slow about it, and he's more methodical, and he's looking and he's trying to watch and see the pattern. And what it is the creature is keeping its tail within one of the pools. And so it's healing the creature as he's fighting it. And so he feigns defeat, and he starts, retreating. And the dragon is tricked into leaving the pools to go finish him off. And that's when he, gets on his horse and cuts him off and cuts cuts the dragon's access from the pool, and kills the dragon that way. Right? So I was initially like, I'm gonna try to use the wells as like as a plot point, but then I actually read the story and I realized that this is a perfect small encounter, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just a knight, you have the heroes. The heroes walk into a village, and let's say there's this one person who's sick, or maybe the whole. I initially wrote down that the whole village is sick, but I think it would be more pressing if one person is sick. Like maybe this one man's wife is sick, and like she's going to die if she doesn't have the access to the healing water, and so they have to defeat the creature that has moved in to the pools. But within the area of the pools, the creature is going to is going to heal, right? Yeah. And so it's a puzzle monster. You have to figure out how to get it away from the pools.
And that's actually kind of cool, especially if you're not aware of the legend, or you don't put together 2 and 2 that you need the water and the creature or whatever it is actually using the water. You're not putting that together.
It has the perfect like, here's the setup. There are magic healing pools. The creature's in there, and you can put those pieces together of why you're not hurting the creature while it's in there. The wounds are sealing back up within the next turn, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that is, long story short, that's what this is. That is the conceit of this this encounter here. And it could be, on a long journey through the mountains, and you come across this village, right? And I picked out a couple of monsters because, right, it's supposed to be a dragon, but because in our little world build here, there are no dragons, or at least supposedly, right?
Yes.
But early levels, you have a giant boar or an onkeg. Your little higher levels, you could use an Etten or a Drider. Going up to your like tier 3, you have like a Guardian Naga or a Gynosphinx. And at higher levels, you could have a Purple Worm or a Balor over there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was just picking out random ones. It was really difficult to try to pick one that wasn't just a dragon, because that's the easy one.
Well, if you go back to like your World of Warcraft and stuff like that, your Nagas would be kind of perfect in that setting because you get your pools and.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. But I just picked a couple of ones that weren't dragons because that's
yeah.
Kind of our whole conceit here. So,
that's cool.
But if you're looking to use this in your game, just use a dragon because it's
that makes it real simple right there.
It makes it real simple. It's A and B. It's done. So
preferably I would assume a higher intelligent creature that they would understand to keep something in the water.
Mm-hmm. Well, I initially just had it if you had it in like the area, that's the healing area, and like that could work. But that was my initial thought, was that like just in the area in a certain radius,
right?
That way there's still more movement, and it's not just a bag of hit points that's stationary.
No, that's cool.
So yeah,
I like that. That'd be very interesting.
That's the village of Longwitten.
Okay, cool. That's very nice because I mean that gives you really challenge that you have to try to figure out. Especially if you have a group that is actually smart enough to go, you know what, we're not here. Let's go back. Let's regroup and try to figure out tactics instead of ones that were just trying to go until they have nothing left.
Yep,
just throwing everything at the wall. So that's real cool. All right, I like it.
You could use this in an early level encounter to kind of set the expectation for your players if you want to have a more strategic game where they think about how their how things are working, and that like things in the environment will affect the actual like battle that's taking place, because this is a good setup for, we're not just bashing a monster until its HP is 0.
Yeah. So cool. Very, very cool. Yay.
Yep.
All right. So I guess that is going to be it for this episode. Unless you got Wahoo. Okay. So cool. With that, do you got anything that you want to add or throw out or?
Nope.
Okay.
But what if I wanted to learn about peppers?
Oh, yes. If you want to learn about peppers, the best place to go is 13 Peppers at YouTube. And that is my other channel where I taste, eat, die, burn up. Actually, there's one episode where I got sick and threw up. But I eat hot peppers, explain to them, go through the history as much as I can find on them, and just have fun eating and tasting peppers. And some sauces I've actually done with you that you have a few episodes on there too.
I've puked on an episode before.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah,
it is a rite of passage. But if you want to go ahead and get a hold of us, reach out to our link tree, which is actually in our description below. There you actually have our email address where you can get a hold of us. You have a couple of our social medias you can get a hold of us. But yeah, reach out. You can leave comments if you're watching us on YouTube, or reach out to the descriptions that's in the podcast notes. And ask us anything that you have. Give us your thoughts. Share whatever you want. But with that is going to be about it.
Wahoo!
So I do have one other question for you. Okay. Today we are recording this. This is May the 3rd. Do you have any plans? I'm sorry, this is May the 2nd. Do you have any plans on Saturday?
I was planning on watching the Tales of the Empire that's coming out.
Okay. I really hate May the 4th be with you.
Okay.
I don't
then
like
why
that.
Are you wearing a Star Wars shirt?
It was my Darth Vader shirt?
Yeah.
Okay, because Connor, I may not be your father.
Oh. Plot twist.
Okay, plot twist. No. No, I just grabbed it and I saw the shirt I was wearing because I was out working in the garden. I was just covered in stuff from running the tiller. So I threw on a clean shirt and then I saw Darth Vader on this one. I saw a TIE fighter up there and everybody doing stuff about Star Wars Day. And I'm like, So, oh well, that's it.
Nope. You're uncultured.
I am very uncultured.
I love Star Wars. Star Wars is great.
Okay, well, with that, I guess that's going to be it. I am Ralph. I am Nerd.
And I'm Connor. I'm Son.
And you all have... You'll have a very good day. All right, bye.
We're professionals.
Yes, we are.